Oh gosh, this was just so amazing to get to have Trevor Boone and Sheila E. and to get to hear all of these wonderful stories. That's what we're all about, giving a voice to the voiceless. I'm Karen Hall, and as Microfed, I am an executive producer. I'm the executive director of the Women's Journal and the Spanish Journal, and a trainer and a host and a speaker. And I love the mission of the Los Angeles Tribune. And one of the things that we are continuing to carry on at this moment of trauma and suffering with Los Angeles is serving. And Michael Silvers is all about service and to now be able to share this with the Los Angeles mission, which is the mission of the Los Angeles Tribune to serve those in need. I think it's important to note that there are over 75,000 people who are homeless in the Los Angeles area, and probably more if we went further out with the suburbs. And so the goal of the mission is to help change lives, and it exists to help people, to help them overcome addictions and to be transformed by God, to become physically and spiritually healthy. What a beautiful, beautiful mission statement for the mission. And so I encourage all of you to donate there and to serve there and to lift those who are suffering, whose hands hang down low. Because when you're in that situation, it means so much to have someone offer support to you. And so I'll just read you the statement. During these trying times, we encourage you to support our partners at the Los Angeles Mission as they continue their incredible work helping those in need. Visit losangelesmission.org to make a difference today. And we encourage you to donate, to serve, so ever you're able, and to offer prayers as well. We all need prayers, and especially at this time of suffering. So thank you for sharing that information with us, Jeff. As I have dealt with my own trauma in my life, and as I have helped others deal with trauma in their life, I've learned some interesting things. And Gabor Mate says it so well. He said, trauma is not what happens to us. It's what happened inside of us. And you can have two people that go through the exact same situation, that interpret the situation differently, that cope with the situation differently. And the other interesting thing about trauma that Gabor Mate also says is that trauma is when your stress exceeds your resources. And so I might have a very large support system, and I may have developed a lot of tools. Maybe I've had coaching, and maybe I've learned some ways to deal with stress. I might have a lot of resources. And so that might make it a different experience for me when I go through trauma versus someone else who maybe has unresolved trauma, and then they deal with something like the fires in LA, and it might be triggering, and they might not have a support system to go to. And so each person deals with it differently based on their own experience and their own resources. And then there's readiness. At certain points in time when the trauma is acute, we need someone to validate our pain. We need comfort. We need to be able to talk about it. And then we may have moved through that, and now we're ready to move on. We want stories of hope. We want stories of resilience. We want to even help someone else who, is going through something. A lot of times I hear people say, well, stop thinking about yourself, start thinking of someone else. And that's a very true principle. And I find that principle to be a very powerful principle for me, that when I am hurting, if I can think of someone else, and sometimes I'm in such a difficult situation. I've had health problems. I've had, mental health issues. And sometimes I think, how can I do anything for anybody else when I can barely make it through today? But then I think I can pray for someone. I can send loving thoughts to someone. I could text someone, even if it's just an emoji. I can push the buttons for 2 seconds on my phone and send a message to uplift someone else. And when I can just do one thing like that, and I feel so much better because I did think of someone else. But if you can't do that, then take care of you and do what you can to help yourself heal. But I want you to know that there is help out there. And that's the beautiful thing about the Los Angeles Mission, that there are people that want to help. There are people within the Los Angeles Tribune community that want to help. And so reach out, connect with us here. And I just want you to know there is help available. There's divine help available. There is mortal help available, and there's help in so many different ways. And so you just need to make a phone call and let someone know. So I encourage you to do that. And I also encourage you to validate yourself. Sometimes when I have been in trauma and someone says something well-meaning, they might say something like, well, that's just stuff, it's just stuff that you lost. I'm like, but I love my pictures. And we went through a massive flood and I lost so many pictures and I was so sad because that brought back so many memories and it brought back so much joy. And then I thought, it is true that it is just stuff. And it is true that, I'm still alive and I didn't, we've had fires. We've lived through the largest fire in the United States with the Rodeo Chenaskai fire. And we've had fire many times lapping at our doorstep, just a mile away from our home. And it was very scary. And it's not the same as being in LA. And I don't want to minimize anyone's trauma that they're going through. But it is, I do understand fear, and I have experienced that to a certain extent. And I've also experienced loss. And when we do go through loss, it's important to validate that loss. Because even when we live things, we grieve. We grieve that loss too. And so if someone else says a comment like that, and maybe it hurts when somebody says something, we can validate our own loss. And we can say, yes, that's true, but it now not to me. And I do miss that. And we can work through that grieving process as well. And if we, or anyone that's offering a comment, we can try to think of how that person is feeling and how could you best support that person in that moment. Sometimes you can just ask, how could I best support you when you're hurting? I remember one time a friend of mine lost a child to leukemia, and she was just devastated by this loss. And I remember when I saw her, I thought, I don't know what to say. I hadn't experienced death yet in my own personal life, except a grandfather, but I hadn't experienced that kind of a loss. And I struggled. I thought, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And I thought, I'm just going to give her a hug. And I gave her a hug and I just held her. And I didn't know if it meant anything. I didn't know if it was helpful. And he sent me a message and she said, so many people say things and they don't know what to say. And they tell me they don't know what to say. And you didn't say anything. You said, but that hug meant so much. And she taught me such a valuable lesson that those hugs and mean so much. Just reaching out with a phone call, just letting someone know you care can mean so much. And so when you do know that someone's suffering, to just say, how are you doing? And be a listening ear. Sometimes it's just so nice to have someone to talk to someone who cares. And we can do that for each other. And, the message is we are going to rebuild, and we will. And we are going to be united, and we will. And we've seen this before with 9/11. We've seen it with the World Trade Center. We've seen it in so many different ways. We do come together and we see the best in people. And then that is one of the greatest blessings of traumatic experiences are you often see people that reach out and show love and do a unified effort. And so I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to serve. We stand in solidarity with those who are suffering in Los Angeles, and we want to do everything that we can. And thank you for joining with us tonight as we honor those who are serving, our first responders, and all those who are lifting and building and making a difference. Thank you to Mo Rock for his vision and his mission for the Los Angeles Tribune to have positive messages, to uplift the world, and not just in a word, but in action. Mo is a leader who doesn't just say the words. It doesn't just come out in print. He takes the action because he really does love you. His Instagram is Mo Rock Loves You, and he really does. And he has so much empathy. And I am so grateful to be a part of the Los Angeles Tribune. Michael Silvers loves to serve. He serves his family every day, his grandchildren, the elderly. He loves to serve people. And for him to be able to carry on that as well with the Los Angeles Tribune is beautiful. Mary Glorfield, the same way. She is someone who works at the Homeless Empowerment Program. in Florida. And in fact, we're featuring a story about the Homeless Empowerment Project in the upcoming issue of the Women's Journal, which will be launching soon. And so I encourage you to read that because they are changing lives in miraculous ways, just like the Los Angeles mission. So there are wonderful things going on. I am so grateful to be a part of it. I am so grateful for all of you who are with us tonight. And I'm grateful for the community that we have here at the Los Angeles Tribune. When Trevor said, that there's, I'm just saying, he said, there's a small town vibe in LA with so much heart. That is so true. I love the heart. There's so much goodness in LA. So many amazing people who care so much. And I am so blessed to be a part of that. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for your support for those who are hurting. Thank you for everyone who is serving and for everyone who is praying. Thank you for being with us.